Okay.
Yeah.
We are hot on the internet now. We can start any time. You guys, and again, since this is online, we can stretch our legs a little bit. But I saw some people back here had some hands up earlier.
Jerlene was one right
Jerlene,
here.
yes. Thanks for coming out to Jerlene. You're a mom on a mission.
Yes. I just wanted to say that I appreciate everybody for this effort. I've been out here since my son was killed in 1994. And I know that the one thing I didn't hear anyone say is anything about teaching these kids K through 12 conflict resolution. They're saying reaching them early and training them this and that, but they've got to teach them how to resolve conflicts without a gun. They've got to, if you got to go back to the old cartoons and to the Jetsons or the Flints, something where it was not guns. And that's all they see, that's all they hear, that's what the culture is of killing. And they always bring them back, they pop back up. They don't come back. And so that should be one thing that the foundations and the leaders are looking at, is how we can get the message through K through 12 so that you will know that I don't have to kill him if I'm angry with him. And that was the one thing that I really wanted to say tonight.
Thank you, Jerlene.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd also like to come over here and speak with John McKinney. Thank you so much for coming out here tonight. Now, I had actually heard your story in the past before. You have quite the story to tell, because you were not just a gang member, you were a gang leader.
Yeah.
How did you get out of that lifestyle?
I went to prison in '98 for possession with the intent to deliver cocaine, carrying a concealed weapon, and I was given 7 years. During that time, I had a lot of time to reflect on decisions I made back home. When I got out, I got married and had children, and joined the Edge Urban Fellowship, but I'm currently a member now. And that's making a difference right now.
But how did you even make that decision to steer in the right direction? I mean, you spent time in prison, but now you're a married man with kids, and you see the violence that's on the streets right now. So what could you say to these kids that are behind all the violence that's happening right now, what you did to get out of it?
Number one, I got to give credit to my mother-in-law, Lillian Heath, for blessing me with her daughter, because without my wife, she was the motivating factor and continues to be in my life. I think right now it's a social and economic issue. I heard the lady back there say something about silent observer, and we get high tech, report the drug dealers. I don't agree with all that. I mean, you can do that. That's you. I'm saying, see where the problem stems from. Why they selling drugs? Maybe they being deprived. Maybe they can't get a job. Maybe they don't have a high school diploma or GED, so they forced to go on the block to feed the family by any means necessary. Quit alienating them, making them seem like putting them in this box. The police come through the neighborhood. They're not trying to talk to them. They're not friendly. Establish rapport like we had in '94 with Officer Marla Freeman in Community Affairs. That's how you're going to address the problem. Don't just all of a sudden lock them up, throw away the key. That's not going to rehabilitate them. They're going to make them rebellious. When they get out, they're going to repeat the same thing.
You're saying a better relationship between police and the community.
That's right, exactly.
And also you're saying surround yourself with positive people. You're
Positive
saying you're
people,
yourself.
role models. I go to the Edge Urban Fellowship. Dennis Johnson is a good mentor. Troy Anthony Evans is a good mentor. And I'm surrounded by a great group of young guys. And we hold each other accountable. And I think that's what it is. You got to hold each other accountable.
John McKinney, thank you so much for sharing your story. Brian?
Thanks, Marley. I want to introduce you to Carolyn Priester. You're with Conqueror Support Group. You're way back here in the back row, but we wanted to get your thoughts and opinion tonight on what you've heard.
Well, being a homicide survivor myself, and reaching out to other homicide survivors through Conqueror Support Group, I have been very encouraged by the conversation that I've heard tonight, simply because it has allowed me to really know what I need to do, how I need to get my thought processes together to do a little more to be more effective, in other words, to bring about a change that's going to be more than just conversation, by actually getting out there in the trenches and doing something to really help our daughters and our sons to know that, violence is not the way. It is not the way at all, and everyone knows that. But we need to be able to really let them know that. So our support group deals with all kind of grief support. We just really want everyone to know that we are an agency out there that's for anyone who has suffered homicide, that is a homicide survivor. And I thank you.
Yeah, another great resource in this community
Yes.
that everyone that's affected can take advantage of.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for
You're
your
welcome.
comments tonight.
And I'm joined now by Alicia Halloway. Now, you wanted to focus on kids and the fact that you think that they just don't have enough to do.
I think that's a big part of a lot of the violence going on right now. These kids are in the streets simply because they don't have anything to do. I know many of people that have tried numerous amount of things to try to get these kids out of the streets. Popular place I was at growing up, Paul I. Phillips building. That was somewhere everyone was. We were able to come in, be there all day, hang out, have a good time. You don't have much of that anymore. We had movie theaters, skating rinks. I know a lot of violence is being brought to those places, but allowing those kids to have somewhere where they can interact. And just like maybe like workshops, a place where kids can go. You have people that like to rap, draw, play basketball. They don't have the resources to do those things, so they tend to group up with other individuals that have nothing to do, and this is where the violence comes from.
Well, let me ask you something. If the resources aren't out there, if the children can't find something to do that's positive, does any of the responsibility then fall back to home and what parents are doing?
I believe 100% because there are a lot of children that have these problems within their home. They have either not a dad, not a mom, maybe not enough finance to be able to do things. They're just sitting at home in the streets with their friends. They don't have, bottom line, they don't have anything to do. There's problems within people's homes. There's abused children, people not eating, and that causes stress, causes just these kids to have all these built up emotions. They don't have anyone to talk to. And someone brought up how a lot of parents are trying to be their children's friends. That's a huge problem. A lot of the things your kids are doing, or the adults are doing, I should say, your kids shouldn't have access to. They shouldn't see you doing a lot of things. I see that a lot nowadays. You have a parent that's out at the club with their child, or out just doing things, with their child, where their child should be at home, or you should be at home.
Well, parents should be more of leaders rather than
and
just
supportive.
best friends.
A lot of parents, or people, kids need support. A lot of these kids don't have support. They don't have anywhere to go. They're bored. I think that's just kind of maybe like the bottom line.
Alicia Holloway, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for that.
I want to introduce you to a 13-year-old young man, Chosen Rhodes. He raised his hand, and I can only imagine what you're thinking tonight, because a lot of this discussion is focused on young men just like you.
Well, I do feel like that. It's focused on young men. And I raised my hand because I did have something to say previous, but then hearing everybody else talk, I wanted to say what I actually wanted to say. I lost one of my best friends to a gang. Like, he actually created one, and I didn't think he was serious with it at first. But he actually was, and he told me all the details about it and, like, what they're going to do. And I was like, I can't be in this, because at first I was, but then I opted out. And my main thing is don't lose hope, because I kept trying to talk him out of it, because he's a religious person too. He believes in Christ. And I told him, like, do you think this is godly at all? And then he just came up with excuses, and I just stopped. And I wish that I could go back and, like, just keep pushing, because I know if I would have kept pushing, I would have gotten through one day. But I stopped, and my main thing is just don't give up hope. If you know somebody selling drugs or planning to, just don't give up hope. And that's all.
I think a lot of adults forget the tremendous amount of peer pressure that goes on, especially in your teenage years when you're in school. And you just gave us some great tips to kind of navigate around all of that stuff. How difficult is it when you have friends that are kind of dipping their foot into that other side?
It is hard because it was my best friend. We've been friends since, like, the 7th grade, and we used to, like, just do everything together. And it's hard to, like, not have him with me anymore as a friend. And, it takes a toll. And then I lose more friends because I didn't want to join the gang, and it's just a lot.
It's a sacrifice you make, but you knew you were doing the right thing.
Yeah, and that's what everybody tells me. I know it was hard, but you did the right thing, and I know it too. But sometimes I regret it, and yeah.
Should he regret it? No. No. You did the right thing. Chosen roads. Thank you so much. 13 years old. Marley.
Amazing stories out here. We have Ashley Lovelady Warren, an in-home nurse's aide, as well with us. Come and stand up with us. Why did you want to be here tonight? What do you have to say? You know, you heard as well that kids are wanting places to go to, places to actually have something to do so that they stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Your response to that?
My response is a lot of adults, older adults, say that we need more organizations or more mentors or more peers out there in the open, but it's kind of like we're out there, but we're not really getting the resources that we need. A lot of people hear us, and then they say they'll get back to you or they'll do this and do that, and then they close you out. You don't hear from them anymore. I think a lot of young people will respond more hearing it from peers that's been through it, that is around their age group or just graduating and trying to reach out to them. It's a lot of adults that's 30s, 40s, 50s trying to reach out, but it's a lot of judgment. It's a lot of, yeah, you've been through it, but now it's changing. It's kind of getting worse. A lot of people are so angry, feeling like they're judged, yet not listened to, not heard, getting their opinion. So I think if a lot of older people will open the door for us young people to step foot in and to wing off from them and to open doors for more kids that's in high school that's trying to change their lives, and I think a lot of things would change if they hear from us.
You know, it's interesting that you brought up the judgment as well, because I think that's a problem that so many kids talk about, that they feel like they're being judged. They feel like they go out into the community and say they're looked at differently by teachers or law enforcement or even their other peers. Is that one of the